We're rolling.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, what an amazing morning we have had. You have seen a polar bear right over our shoulder this morning, walking along the ice looking for its prey. What a magnificent beast. Now, we are very lucky indeed. We have Danielle here again, who is a marine biologist. Say hello, Danielle.
Hello everybody, how are you doing?
Now, before you get into your research today on polar bears and their habitat, their prey, the dangers that they face, what we wanted to do is give you a little bit more information about polar bears from the actual place where they live. Now, we've clambered onto the land here in an island or an inlet here. What's the name of this inlet called again?
This place is called Naloden.
Naloden. Okay, we're in Naloden on Svalbard, and it's very interesting. On the island of Svalbard, there are actually more polar bears than human beings. There are around about 2,500 people live in this island and about 2,700 polar bears.
Exactly.
Now, is it dangerous for us to be standing right here, right now?
Well, dangerous it is, but we have a lot of safety measures that we take before we come to shore to guarantee that there is no polar bears around. So right now we have a Zodiac scouting the whole area, even far away where we are, to see if there is any polar bear coming or passing by next to where we are. But it's not only on land. You have to remember, polar bears can swim a lot and they can come also from the ocean. So we have to have ice everywhere.
Now, just to let you know, this morning we saw the polar bear climb onto the land, have a walk around, and then jump straight into the sea and have a big swim.
Yes.
And I've heard that polar bears are really good swimmers. How good are they?
They are very fast. We saw them like cover ground so easily. They kind of swim like dogs with the face out, and they can reach something around 10 kilometers per hour or 15 kilometers per hour when they are in the water. So it's quite fast.
Goodness me.
And they can swim like this and just cover ground. So easy, so sweet. They are marine animals, so they are made to the marine environment, so they are very well adapted.
So for anybody out there wanting to do research on polar bears, forget about looking in the books under the animals where there are land animals. You won't find them there, will you?
No.
We'll find them alongside whales and dolphins and seals, because this is an animal that lives in the water predominantly.
Exactly.
But it's huge. I understand they can grow to a colossal size. How big can they get?
They can go up to 2.5 meters, the males. So the males are bigger than the females, so 2.5 meters on length and up to 800 kilograms. And while the female is 2 meters and 300 kilograms, so the females are quite small, like almost half of the size of the polar bear male. So they are quite huge, bigger land animals, as you can see.
Yeah, and I understand they're the largest land predator on the planet.
Yes, it's actually very confused, because if you consider that they eat pretty much on marine animals and they take all the food sources from the water, so they eat on seals, they prey on seals, on whales, on carcasses, and that's the main prey. So that will be classify them as marine predators or water predators, not land predators. But they can also go high on the cliffs like birds like we have here in this area, and actually take eggs and chicks of birds, even some birds and some dead carcasses and some dead birds that they can find on land, because when the summer comes, they can starve a lot, so they will pretty much eat whatever they can find.
Goodness me. And they live all over this landscape, on the land, in the water, on the mountains behind us. They can literally appear anywhere. This is how good they are at hunting.
Yes, pretty much everywhere.
Now, obviously, one of the most adorable things probably you've ever seen, and me too, is a polar bear cub or a baby polar bear.
Oh my God.
Can you tell us, how does it happen? Where does the mother give birth?
Yes.
How many babies do they have? And how long is it until mum says goodbye to the babies, off you go and survive on your own?
Yeah, so they have a very interesting life cycle. The mom will mate with the polar bear male, and then she will dig a den. So she will dig a hole on the ice, and this ice, with the storms and some snowfall, will kind of cover, and then she will build a den almost naturally, and she will stay living on this den through the whole winter.
Right.
Over there, the babies will be born. She will be on a very slow motion state, almost sleeping, not actually hibernating, but she will be very slow motion, and then the babies will be born very tiny, and they will crawl the mom and they will look for the nipples to start to suckling the milk, which is quite fat milk. It's 40% of fat on that milk. Generally, she will have in between 1 to 3 cubs, but in the average it's 2. And they will be inside of this den through the whole winter, and then in the beginning of the spring, mom will start to head up out of the den to look around because she's starving now and she really needs to look for food to start to build up her body fat again and continue to give milk to the babies. And the cubs will live with the mom up to 2.5 years. And the mom will start to teach them how to hunt, how to look for food, where to look for food. And then when 2.5 years later, mom will say goodbye to them and they will be independent little bears.
Okay, now the last question I have on that one is, when the mum says goodbye, will she ever see them again?
Never, probably never. This is a very wild area and they can spread around. It's a big area for a small amount of polar bears, I would say. So they can spend the whole year without even seeing each other. Or the first three years of their lives, they pretty much don't see any other polar bears. The males will start to look for the females. They will follow the females' footprints in the snow, smell the scent that she will release on the paws. So the males, after 3 or 4 years old, they will start to look for the females to mate, and the females will just accept them. So for the first 3 years, they pretty much won't see any other polar bears. And if they see it, they can have some fights, so it's not actually good for them.
Goodness me. Now, are polar bears territorial? Do they say, this is my bit of land, stay out of my land, I'm the biggest male around here? Or do they just say, hey, let's share the land together?
Not at all. They are not territorialists, but they don't share, except if they have a blast of a meal, like if the feeding frenzy of a meal, for example, if a whale carcasses arrive at the beach, that's enough food for weeks for a polar bear. So they will allow all the polar bears to arrive when they are full. And then they will allow them, but if they are starving again, if they are hungry again, they will maybe start to fight a little bit and push. But sometimes if there is a whale carcasses, they even share for that moment and then see you never again.
I see, all right. Now, this week we've learned how everything is connected. From the birds who are obviously up here, they are fertilizing this landscape, and then this grass grows, reindeers come along, they eat the grass, polar bears eat the reindeers. It's all connected.
Yes.
But what we've learned this week, which is the most important lesson of all, is the big white stuff we have all around us seems to be the most important feature for everything, not only here in the Arctic, but the entire world relies on it.
Exactly.
What dangers are the polar bears facing right now? Because for the children watching at home, whether they're in Bangladesh, Nepal, Massachusetts, Mongolia, everybody would love to come here at some point and see a polar bear just like we did today. Would hate for them to be extinct. What dangers are they facing, and what are the risks if the ice melts?
Well, of course, climate change and the ice melting and this, the change of this environment that we have here, it's the biggest threat to the polar bears, but we have others. If we have an increasing of temperature above the average or above what this environment can handle, and we started to lose a lot of ice, this can be a threat for polar bears because they need the ice for having the babies and for finding food. So the most important things of their life cycles are related to the ice.
I see.
But also we still have a lot of hunting of polar bears in the Arctic, which is still killing hundreds of polar bears per year, and it's kind of a legal operation in the Arctic, in Canada and Russia. Right. So there is people that pay a lot of money to kill a polar bear, which is absolutely outrageous in my opinion. Yes. And we also have other impacts like plastic, like other pollutions in the water, like a oil spill. Here in the Arctic we have a lot of operations of oil drill in the water, so this can be a threat for them as well. And we also even have the bad tourism. When the bad tourism came and started to do operations on land without responsibility, it's also a threat for polar bears.
That's right. And that's a really important point to finish on, because before we came onto this land today, we came on very carefully. Even to the point where we tried not to even to step on any flowers. So we came here with the purpose of leaving with only memories, not leaving anything behind, not even footprints. Now your job this week obviously is to continue your research on the mighty polar bear. And when you do, just like me, when I've learned here from Danielle, you will realize what a magnificent creature it is. Number two, you are then to go to your local environment, your country, your community, and have a look are there any apex predators where you live? And if there are, what dangers do they face and how important are they in the ecosystem in the place where you live? And next week, we're going to be getting into something a lot meatier when we get into birds, the food chains, biomes, and even climate change. Honestly,
Wow.
Danielle, thank you so much. It's been amazing to have you.
It's been amazing as well.
Okay, see you later.
See you guys.